Hello and welcome, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight? Everybody has had their dinner?
Yes.
I see smiling faces. So it's okay if I don't hear you. I can feel the happiness of food through the screens. All right. So welcome everyone to the first virtual event by Seed. This is in conjunction with the Social Enterprise Day 2022, which was held on the 17th of November. Right, my name is Adelina. I am the MC for today. I am also the head of creative stuff that happens in Seed, including this poster. Yes, thank you very much. All right, so today's topic that we have is understanding the fundamentals and reality of social entrepreneurship. So this is something that is very near and dear to Seed's mission. And we have a panel later, which is a fireside discussion moderated by our head of communication, culture and development, Niney Chong. We also have three wonderful speakers who are very prolific and are quite well-versed in this world. So we have one Dazriq, the founder and director of Purpose Malaysia, among many other things. Do check out his LinkedIn. We also have Brian Johnson Lowe, the Chief Executive Officer of Poptron. If you don't know Poptron yet, you will after this. And we also have Mary Jim, the Chief Executive Officer of MJ by Moose. So she is also a very known figure here in Sabah in the social enterprise scene. All right, now I will remove this screen so that we can see more people. And we still have people coming in, so this is wonderful. Now, for this event, we would like to do a little bit of an icebreaker. As with all events, let us break the ice by saying some kind words. So how this is going to go is I will need you to utilize the chat, the Zoom chat, and private message people. So you can private message people that you don't know and say something kind to them. Let's start this event with a little bit of kindness because let's face it, that's what social enterprise is all about, right? Being kind, spreading that kindness. So let's do this. We will have let's give it about 5 minutes so everybody can say beautiful and nice things to as many people as you can within 5 minutes. Just send them a private message through the Zoom chat. So I'll play the music again in the meantime. All right, so in about a little bit before 8:50, then we'll get back to getting to know everyone again. Sounds good? Everybody good? Everybody okay? Yes, speakers, you can also start messaging people as well. You are also invited to. So let's start the music and you can start messaging anybody in this room. Just send them a DM and say something that you think would make their day. And I will start the music now. everyone who just joined. What we're doing now is we're not just keeping quiet, we're actually doing a little exercise where everyone is sending a direct message to the Zoom chat and saying some kind words to anyone in this room. You can go ahead and do that. We have about a minute left. I hope everybody is finding some kindness in their Zoom chat. Okay, and now we are back. All right, so how was that? How did that make you feel? Sending messages as well as receiving messages. How did that make everyone's day or night feel? You can emote with the emojis as well with the reaction button. That would be awesome.
Feel good.
Yay! I am a big user of the word awesome. I may sound like a valley girl, but I am not. I promise. Okay. So I'd like to call maybe a couple of people just to share the kind words. You don't have to say who it's from. If you want to, you can. So I'd like to ask, let's go with Geraldine. Geraldine, did you receive any nice words in your message?
Hi, Adelina. Yes, I did. A couple of
Nice.
them. Very good. Makes me feel awesome. One of them said that I am a super committed person.
Oh.
Thank you. And another one said my presence today is an encouragement for all. Thank you. Thank you. Same to everyone.
Thank you, Geraldine. That's so beautiful. And I'm glad that made you feel uplifted. Okay, let's go with one more person. I think I want to call upon, let's go with Noor Shaza. I promise I'm calling at random.
Hello.
Hi. Did you receive any nice, wonderful, kind messages?
Yes, I do. So some of them said like, well done, Putlia, because I have gone through today until now. So yeah, I think I don't receive that much, but I can appreciate the messages that I receive.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Noor Shaza.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you so much to everyone for participating and sending those beautiful messages. You may not know how such a small effort of work to send those messages could make a difference in someone's day. So, and it didn't take very long. We only took 5 minutes to spread a little bit of joy. So that is the power of spreading kindness. It doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It could be like 5 words in a sentence, and yet it made an impact on someone. And that's what one of the things that we can explore in social entrepreneurship, where we practice kindness and create that impact. So let me just bring this person in. All right, so that was basically the point of the exercise. So now I would like to have the honor to invite the president of SEED. So in case anyone here is not aware, SEED is the Association of Sabah Social Entrepreneurs and Eco-Development. So I'd like to invite Datin Janet Tambakau, who's the president, to deliver her welcoming remarks. Thank you, everyone.
Right. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Adelina, for introducing me and for being such an excellent MC and to have, a break session like this. Yeah, it's really, really nice. Okay, first of all, I would like to thank Niney Chong, our head of communication, culture and development of SEED, for organizing this first virtual event with the topic of understanding the fundamental and reality of social entrepreneurs. I think this is a real good event for everybody because I know that a lot of people out there really don't understand what is social entrepreneur all about. So definitely will be a very big insight for a lot of our members, not only for members, but also to the public. Yeah. And also at the same time, I'd like to welcome our distinguished speakers. One Dazriq, the founder and director of Purpose Malaysia. And definitely, he will be a very good alliance for SEED as well, because we will learn more about what is social entrepreneur is about and what is the social impact that we can work with them. Then at the same time, I would also like to welcome Brian Johnson Lowe, who is the CEO of Poptron. And again, they are also our very, very important alliance because he provides the SE marketplace, I was given to understand. And I think that is one of the alliance that is very, very important to SEED, because in Sabah, we have a big gap, a really, very big gap of small stakeholders who are in need to know how to market the products. So definitely this is something that we can learn about it tonight, and we can impart this knowledge to our small stakeholder in Sabah. Then at the same time, of course, I would like to welcome our very, very dear executive committee of SEED, Mary Jean, who is the CEO of Emcee by Most, a very, very dear friend of mine, and she is very, very passionate about social entrepreneur, who has developed a social enterprise which she hates many, many different kinds of product that she has in Emcee by Most. And one of the most significant one recently that she was heading was the herb farming, which I feel that that she has provided a lot of jobs and also empower many, many rural communities, women farmers in Sabah. So SEED is very, very privileged to have Mary Jean as one of our community in SEED to spearhead more programs for our rural community in Sabah as well. So I'd like to thank her for being one of our first speaker in our SEED first virtual event. And I also like to thank all our SEED members who took their time tonight to attend this event. I think it will be very beneficial for all of you to understand what social entrepreneur is all about. Yeah, okay, thank you. And over to you, Adelina.
Thank you so much, Danjanen, for that welcoming remark and introducing SEED, what we're about, as well as talking a little bit about our speakers today. I think everybody here is ready to get into the discussion. And with that, I would like to invite the person who spearheaded this event, Niney Chong, to the virtual stage. And she'll be introducing the speakers as well for the fireside discussion.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Adelina. So Adelina is the head of digital for SEED. And for this project, I have been working very, very closely with her. So if you see the beautiful visuals, right, members are using right now, speakers are using, I'm using it right now. It's done by her. The posters that you've been seeing, that particular poster that has been inviting you to be here today. It is also created by Adelina. So welcome everyone, welcome seed members, and welcome to non-members. So if you like what you see, if you like the energy that you're feeling tonight, I would like to shamelessly do a little plug-in. Do join us. You are able to do so by clicking on any link on our social media, either on LinkedIn, on Facebook, or also on Instagram. We are seed.borneo on all our social media platforms, okay? So do join us, because we would like to welcome you no matter where you are. It doesn't mean that you need to be a Sabahan or in Sabah, then you are able to join Seed Borneo, right? You are able to do so even if you are outside of Malaysia, because we are all about collaboration. Before I continue, I just would like to do something, right? Because I am the head of communication, culture and development, a culture that I would like to instill, starting from this first virtual event, because we are entrepreneurs. Because entrepreneurs, right? What is the most important thing for entrepreneur? One of the most important thing, not the most important thing, is to network, to introduce yourself, to talk to people what you are about. So I would like to give that opportunity to you to just do your self plug-in in the Zoom chat. So I will start so that you are able to know what I mean, right? So I'm going to start right now. So you are also able to follow after this. I am using double device right now. So that is why you are seeing me looking here, okay? Because I'm typing this out right now. So my name is Chong. And I run 2 startups. I am a social impact strategist. I run Momentum as well as Ministry of Marketing.Asia. And you are able to do the same. Introduce yourself as well as your business. You can also plug your website link, your social media link there. So, as the session is ongoing, we are able to get to know all the people who are in attendance tonight. All right. So before I go to what I am about to do. It's not a secret because you'll be seeing it in a bit. I would like to introduce our guest speakers for tonight. So guys, thank you so much for saying yes to me and contributing to the SE conversation. This is an event run in conjunction with the Social Entrepreneurship Day that happened on the 17th of November 2022. And because it was just 2 days before the GE15, so we thought that, okay lah, we postpone 1 week lah and meet everyone so that more people are able to be here tonight. All right, so we have one Dazriq, who is the CEO and director at Purpose Malaysia. One Dazriq, would you like to speak a little bit about yourself right now before I move on to the next speaker?
Yeah, I can very briefly. Thank you, Niney, and good evening, everyone. First and foremost, thank you, Seed, for I guess giving me a platform to share, not so much to promote myself, but maybe to share some insights with the members here, which is always great to share some knowledge. Very briefly about me, I wear multiple hats, but social entrepreneurship has always been my passion. I started my social entrepreneurship journey back in 2015 with then the Malaysian Global Innovation and Creativity Center.
And that's where I met you, Dazriq.
Yes, that's where I met Niney and some of you as well in this call as well. And it is always nice to see how the ecosystem have grown. Not just in West Malaysia, but also in Borneo and in Sabah, and I guess Niney, Datin, and a few others here also has been a good advocate of impact businesses or social entrepreneurship. So that's great. Purpose, one of my ventures that I'm also running as what Niney mentioned is Purpose Malaysia. So Purpose Malaysia for us is more, we're not a social enterprise. Let's be clear about that, but we are more of a venture builder, or I call it a venture builder that likes to help either high potential or highly scalable social enterprise to grow. And that is not just in the means of investment, but also, go to market, mentoring, market access, and stuff like that lah. Since COVID, we doubled down our portfolios. We used to have portfolios in Philippines and Singapore, but we doubled down since COVID, and now we focus on the learning and development or capacity building under the brand new Uprise, which is focusing a lot on social entrepreneurship education for now lah. But I'll leave it at that, and I'm sure we can have more conversations around social entrepreneurship, community leadership, and stuff like that later. So hopefully it will be a meaningful session for all of us here, and I'm more than happy to share some of the insights here. Thank you so much. I'll pass back to Niney.
All right, thank you so much, Dazriq. So, if you hear what Dazriq just spoke about, he mentioned just now about venture building. So he is in the impact world or the social entrepreneurship world. Social entrepreneurship world is huge, guys. I'm going to speak a little bit about it later. So what Dazriq really mean is that he is an impact investor. So if you are in a business that is creating impact, then Dazriq is the person that you would like to look for, because he invests or help incubate and guide businesses that is impact driven, purpose driven, that are the other names for social entrepreneurship. All right, so now I guess I'll move on to Brian. Hi, Brian. So I've not met you before. Tonight is the first night as meeting, right? We've spoken, I think, on Clubhouse before this. So Brian is from Poptron. He is the founder as well as the CEO of Poptron. Well, Poptron. Sorry, I punya banyak tersasul, but it's okay. So Poptron, speak to us a little bit about yourself as well as Poptron, Brian. What is exciting right now? I know that Adelina have just met you at Poptron and highly recommended us to have you for tonight, actually.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much. Well, thanks for the introduction. My name is Brian. I am the CEO and founder of Poptron. Poptron is a platform that aims to foster a community around emerging brands, passionate creators, and their beautiful products. So the motto of our platform is discover beautiful things. So we are quite aesthetic, and some say a bit shallow that way, because we only look for looks. But we believe in actually aggregating meaningful brands that also have a dual purpose of not only being either impact driven, but also to create some form of a lifestyle around it, but without branding ourselves as much as a social enterprise or socially responsible based platform. The reason for that is because we want the adoption of impact to be as natural as possible, and without putting up a barrier towards people who lead other different, alternative lifestyles that do not or do not believe or do not think of it in such a manner. So we will work with a lot of social enterprises, and we've met a few along the way. And yes, we did meet with Adelina, and we were very excited to talk about Sabah. And I've always admired Jesselton Market, and I think we're going to send someone there to go and scope around and see and discover all those wonderful brands over there, and hopefully work with them. What I can say about Poptron is that we are unlike any other marketplace in a manner that we don't see ourselves as a marketplace. We are a strategic partner to brands. So while we have a very tight curation process, once we onboard the brand, we work very closely with them. We talk about building their business. We talk about assisting them in all kinds of initiatives, plugging them into networks, both locally and regionally. So it's not a, you come on my platform, you sell, and I'll pay you your fees kind of thing. It's actually a very relationship-driven platform. And I think this is a testament to anyone who's been on our platform. If you've sold on Poptron, you would have come into contact with my wonderful team, and through WhatsApp, not just like a support email. And that's how we build our business relationships and through meaningful impact. Happy to
Nice.
share more.
Nice, thank you, Brian. So, so Brian mentioned just now that he is not a social enterprise as per se, right? But because he is an impact-driven business, so it, you know, he is still a social entrepreneur, meaning that you know, he is contributing impact to our community as well as the ecosystem. All right. Again, I will be speaking about that in a bit before we continue with our discussion to set a context so that you get to understand the conversation better as we move on. So I just see, right, what's going on here before I go to Mary Jim. That I was talking just now about a culture that I would like to instill, but there's no one who are doing their self-plugin. Come on, entrepreneurs. Right, this is the time where you would want to network, you want to put yourself out there, because there are quite a number of people in this event tonight. So I put in some example there, my personal example, so you are able to do the same and promote yourself too. All right, so don't malu-malu, don't shy. I always like to say, promote yourself cow, because you are an entrepreneur. That's how it works, right? So, okay, so now I would love to introduce our very own Mary Jim. Mary Jim is one of our committee member. So she handles the partnerships, local partnerships. So we have international partnerships, and Mary Jim is the head of partnerships, but local, meaning that in Malaysia. All right, Mary is also spearheading the SE industry back in Sabah. She has been doing so for a very long time, a very inspirational lady, but I'll let her speak more about herself and what is exciting right now at Emcee by Moose, because she is also the founder and CEO at Emcee by Moose. Over to you, Mary.
Thanks, Nini. Thanks, everyone. Hi, again, I'm Mary Jim. I'm the founder and CEO of Emcee by Moose. It's actually the company founded in 2015, if not mistaken. We do an R&D and all that. I think right immediately after Magic was established, I think, yeah. So basically what we do, we are dealing with a lot of social enterprise here in Sabah. Back then in 2015, 2016, I think it's not really that, you know, much people knows about social enterprise. So how we started it is because we realized back then in the rural area, a lot of the rural area people, the youth and the before the community, the what we call that, of course, the farmers and all that, they are a lacking of information on how to move forward in terms of improving their economy, their personal economy, I mean their family economy. So at that time, I was in the training line background, which is given an opportunity be in the Women Advisory Council at that time. So travel a lot over to the rural area, and then this is where I found like, you know, I better start something like a platform, you know, a very inclusive, which is covers the social enterprise need way to help to promote and market their products. So basically, what is actually that was my I'm passionate about, you know, to touch people's lives, to see some improvement from the grassroots, and then, you know, bring something forward and then promote things like that. So this is where we found Emcee by Moose platform, where we get the all local brand and we assemble it and we brand it, and then we market as a Emcee by Moose coalition products. So it is started, we really all out 2016 and until today, and glad to see we are not only marketing the fashion and craft products, but we are also covering now, or since the pandemic, is encouraging rural women to, to grow, to plant their herbs, because this is where the area that I think we can cover a lot of segmentation, not only in the rural area, but also in the urban area. So yeah, basically this is all about it. So maybe we can further discuss on our discussion later. Over back to you, Niney.
Thank you so much, Mary. I am super proud of you. You have been growing. I've seen when you first started, and you've grown, right? And you've grown like huge. And like I say, I'm super proud of you, and glad to be working with you in an SE NGO now, right? So thank you so much, speakers, for being here. Before we get into the discussion, as I promised, I will be doing a little fundamentals about social entrepreneurship. Adelina, may I share screen? I can, right? Okay, so I will be sharing my screen right now because the topic for tonight is also understanding the fundamentals of social entrepreneurship. So what is social entrepreneurship? I'm just going to fly through this so that we are able to get into our discussion right away. And what I will be doing is I will be including this PDF in our Zoom chat so that you are able to, again, retrieve it and use it as reference in the future, okay? I will also be putting in the link where I get this resource from so that you are able to read the full article for SE as well. So as you can see, social entrepreneurship is, a social entrepreneur is a person who pursues novel application. So it's like doing good, giving back, right, to the community, and have the potential to solve a community-based problems. I guess all entrepreneurs are called entrepreneurs because they are providing solutions. But what is different here is that it creates impact, but not only profit-driven, right? So as like I say, I'm just going to fly through this and we will move on to the discussion. So most businesses or conventional businesses are more profit driven, right? It's a singular driven kind of entity, but really in social entrepreneurship, it could be a double bottom line or it could be a triple bottom line. So these three things, people, planet, as well as profit, are the three bottom line, three objective of a social entrepreneur. Okay, so then there are 6 types of social entrepreneurship. All right, so you have met Dazriq. So what Dazriq does is that he is a venture builder. So what he does is he invests. He does impact investment. So he look out for companies or startups that is providing impact to the community, work with them, incubate them, guide them, and also invest in them when that startup is viable. So there are non-profit. So non-profit are many different types of businesses. I think one of the big ones in Asia is Gawat Kalinga, right? I think myself and also Dati Jeanette, who else? Mary was there also, and that is in Philippines, right? And there is a cooperative type of social entrepreneurship. There is a social purpose business. I personally run 2 social purpose businesses, Womentum as well as Ministry of Marketing.Asia. And then there is a social firm employ those in the community who need jobs. So there are different types of companies who are taking in single mothers, youth who left school. There are even companies who hire undocumented youth out there, all right? So socially responsible business who are in the fair trade, for example, or fair wage, right? So these are the kind of business out there. And there is also for profit, but this business creates awareness, educate, and this is part of social entrepreneurship too. So that's all, right? So as I promised, this document will be made available in the Zoom chat for you to take a look at, as well as the link where I get this resource from. Okay, so that's that. And I am stopping the share right now, and we will continue with the discussion. So Dazriq, Brian, and Mary, are you ready? Are you ready to have a great discussion? Okay, so I guess I'll move on to the basic question. So audience, right, don't worry, you will have the opportunity to ask your question later, because we will be having a Q&A question. Okay, so don't worry. So as the conversation is going also, you are able to ask your question, and I will pause. I have my chat window open here. I will be asking your question if need be. All right, so then my first question, guys, right? Any one of you, let this conversation just flow. It doesn't have to be structured, because I think we will be having fun, right, when the conversation is flowing. So I am very, very curious. Why being in the social impact or social driven, or why are you passionate about helping the SE ecosystem? Anyone? Why, guys? Brian, I see you unmuting.
Maybe
Oh,
I can
Mary. Okay, go ahead,
just
Mary.
give a sharing on this, Niney. So for me, why I'm so passionate about this, yeah, I think my line is unstable. So
It's okay, you're
anybody
loud
can
and
hear me
clear.
now?
Yeah,
Can?
you're good.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. For me, why I'm really passionate about, what I am doing, especially giving impact to the local community, because I'm coming from that background. When back then, when I was young, we are very, very less fortunate. So in my hometown back then, it is, there's still, a lot of people who are not proceed their studies due to poverty, things like so. That is actually encourages me and push me forward that, what can I give, what I can give back to the society, so that they have a light, they have access to information, they can do their for the better living, things like that. So this is why I'm passionate about doing this kind of thing, because I want them feel how I feel, and I want them also to be where I am today. So in order for me to bring them with me, so I need to educate and share what I am doing. So this is why I'm passionate about social enterprise and inclusive business. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mary. What about you, Brian? What made you start? What is it that you're passionate about? Poptron have grown, right? And it's quite big. It's like I hear Poptron's name all the time.
Really,
And
that's great.
I want to know why.
I think, well, coming back to the first question, why did I start this? I started Poptron because of an event that took place in my life that made me realize that as humans, our time here on planet Earth is so short in consideration to the entire lifespan of our universe and our planet. We've been around for 4 over billion, and we're complaining about our lifespan, which is about 100 years, in which if you compress the entire lifespan of planet Earth into 24 hours, our existence on planet Earth is about 4 seconds of that. So that kind of gives a very clear perspective that we are here only for a very short time. And in that very short time, if you are very selfish in terms of your needs and the way you live your life, you can be the richest person on earth and you can have the most amount of money and property and all that. But at the end of the day, when you leave the planet, you still leave with nothing. To me, after that experience, I realized that I should at least try to leave the planet in a better way than which I came from. Right now, I came in a much better, when the planet was much better, and I seem to be hopefully not, but it seems like I'm heading in that direction where we're going to live it in a worse off state for our future generations. So I thought I wanted to start a platform where I can aggregate brands that have some form of impact, whether it's societal or environmental or anything like that, so that we can collectively make an impact towards how we lead our lives, specifically in the area of commerce, because commerce is one of those areas that's actually quite damaging. So that's why I started Poptron, the backstory of it.
Ah, nice one. I like that because I have limited time on planet Earth, so might as well do good as I am living on planet Earth, right? That's that. Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you. Thank you so much for your contribution. And Dazriq, you have been in the forefront of the impact business when I met you, right? But I never asked you, has it always been before magic or after magic or during magic that you fell in love with or passionate about the impact business world?
I think for me, as cliche as it sounds, and I know there's a lot of I wouldn't say stigma, but notion around Gen Y or young generation wants to create impact. I could resonate the same for myself, and I think a lot of people don't know. I think thank you for starting with that question. So I started my career with pretty much in a corporate sector lah. I've done a lot of consulting work with GLCs, MNCs and stuff like that for a good 5 or 6 years, right? And then what came to realization was, hold on, I'm helping big corporations make more money. And in the conventional studies, that's not a bad thing, because a lot of people say, okay, let's profit maximize, right? But often we don't realize that beyond money or profit making, there's actually the whole other aspects that makes what Brian said, life and enriching with that small amount of time that we have, right? And we're talking about people, community, and stuff like that, right? So then I realized then, okay, how do we break this conventional capitalism as we know, which is profit maximizing, right? And that's one thing led to another. Then I came across magic. I always have an intention to, okay, let's do business, but not just for profiteering, because that's what I've learned in my corporate years. So then I came this across of social entrepreneurship, and that's my only formal education of social entrepreneurship through Magic Cyberjaya then. So one thing led to another, then that I realized my passion, right? And I met a lot of people like you all here in Sabah, and not just in Sabah, but Sarawak, Pahang, KL, and what sorts, who also share the same sentiment, right? And this notion not about capitalism as we know it. I call it stakeholder capitalism, in the sense of, yeah, you make money, but also you want to create impact for community, for environment, climate, whatever that may be, right? And the good thing is that also drives my passion, because I see, oh, actually there's a lot of people who want to do the same thing, but they have different skill sets. And I admire some of the work that you all are doing, in Sabah, for example, community, women empowerment, youth, invent things around upcycling and stuff like that, right? And I think in Malaysia we have a lot of diversity in that space. So my role here is not so much so about either replicating or I like to say I sometimes live vicariously through the work that you all do. And to me is more, how do I help you all to, and this is maybe also because of my background, things that I did in magic, things I've learned in corporate, to help you either sustain, scale, or try to see how you can maximize that impact. And that's how purpose came about, right? So I came from a private public sector magic, understand the landscape, try to propagate the landscape, but I also realized there's a gap in the private sector market. So people like Brian and myself trying to bridge that gap. So Brian do more of a marketplace. For me, it's more of a venture building, mentoring. When Niney mentioned about investing, it's not just money. A lot of people think it's just money. But often we realize it's also about time, go to market, connection, network, and things like that. So I take investment as a slightly broader term, not just monetary term. But hopefully, I think social enterprise can be mainstream in that manner. And I agree with Brian also. I think one success factor I feel hopefully down the line, when there is no label of social entrepreneurship and every businesses or main businesses has impact and stuff like that, I think that's where we already reach a success point now. So that's my aspiration for this space.
Thank you so much, Dazriq. And I guess, it's fair for me to say this, and the audience would agree too. We have great lineup of speakers who would be sharing with us tonight, right? You have been hearing their why. You've just heard what Dazriq's why was, right? And you've heard Brian and you've heard Mary. And if you are not in a social impact or social entrepreneur yet, right? I guess you will be inspired and somehow start to create impact through your business, because I'm inspired every time that I see someone creating impact out there. I am inspired. I just feel like I want to do more, right? So you've heard the why, right? You've heard the why they are in this ecosystem. So now what I am really curious about is the who. When I say the who, is that, who are the people that you would like to work with, you are working with, and you are hoping to work with. Not only that, I think I also am very curious, who are the group of people that has been supporting you, that have been encouraging you, that have been aiding you, in your journey of being in this impact business world. Dazriq, do you want to go first?
I think so. So there's two parts of that question. I think yang pertamanya, you mentioned who are the people, right? To me, because I'm not a social entrepreneur or straight cut social entrepreneur, I think some of your beneficiary, I don't know, someone in the community, for example, could be struggling single mothers and stuff like that, right? But for me, I think I like to think the beneficiary is also my partner to some extent, is also my partners in crime, is also the social entrepreneur. And to me, the social entrepreneurs or people like you can also be my partner and also beneficiary at the same time. Some of you also who may not know, so or some of you may know, so I actually started or co-founded the Chamber of Social Entrepreneur Development, and that was just an advocacy group to build community, at least more in West Malaysia, to sort of coordinate everyone together, to advocate around things around social entrepreneurship. And why I feel that is quite important, although everyone do different things, right? So some people are doing education, some people are doing women empowerment, some people are doing sustainability and stuff like that. But the voices collectively of social entrepreneurs has to be heard. And that's how I think back then, I guess 3 government back now, the advocacy sort of work in terms of, okay, how would we put it into national economic agenda, for example, how we do it in the cabinet paper and stuff like that. And I feel it's also an opportunity time, if it's not at the federal, but also at the state level. I know some of you are like SEED, for example, associations are doing that at the state level. And I feel, and this is a reflection, right? The social entrepreneurship landscape in KL, for example, is very different from Sabah, for example. I think, as far as I'm aware, but I think you all can also share your insights. I think you are a bit more, I feel that you're a bit more community based. I think also because of the market or ecosystem that you're there in Sabah is a bit more service based as well. And I think that's a good thing, because it's a lot have to do with community. And it's very different from what I used to face in KL, because the challenges are very different in that sense, right? So yeah, so in answering Nini's question short, one is actually I like to think that the benefactor here is actually the community. In this case, it's actually impact business owners, social entrepreneurs and stuff like that. But also these are the ones that became partners as well. And I feel that's something, and that's why I always say I kind of live vicariously to the work you all do. I may not be able to do some of the stuff that you all do, but you know, by collaborating, by working together, by just observing, that gives me some sense of fulfillment that, you know, hey, look, you know, it's not just about the money, it's also about the impact through the passion that the social entrepreneurs of Malaysia like to do. So that's my perspective.
Yeah, nice one, Dazriq. And you know, as you mentioned just now, that as you know, I spoke about impact investment, and you said that impact investment is not only you know, monetary, but really resources as well, right? Knowledge and guidance. Would it be okay for me to say that the who are, you know, mentors, industry players, these are the who that you are working with as well to contribute to the ecosystem?
And I agree. And just to add on that one, I think it's also sometimes good to test yourself outside of your community. So at some point also, you know, whether it's in the CSAT, the chamber capacity, then you know, sometimes we also talk to policymakers, ministries, and stuff like that. So they may not understand social entrepreneurship, right? But at least if you understand where they're coming from, their views of the work that you do, or we do, that actually helps to shape some sort of common understanding, at least, right? And I guess that's where something that we can work from. But I agree with you, right? So my mentor could be also some policymaker in government, you all as practitioners and stuff like that. So I think to have multiple touch points, and I think Niney was mentioning about network. I think that really helps in terms of your journey as an entrepreneur, more so as social entrepreneur.
Yeah, nice one, Dazriq. And another thing that I am very interested that you spoke about is that, you know, you founded or co-founded the Chamber of Social Entrepreneurship Development, right? That internet. You know, I think that you would agree with me, right? So the existence of seed is not actually to compete or work in silo, right? That thing. So should we, after this, catch out Dazriq and say that, hey, we want to collaborate with a Chamber of Social Entrepreneurship Development? What do you think, Datin?
I had to make a note. I left the office already, but I'm sure they are more than willing to do that. But I agree. You know, I think in larger market in like Indonesia, for example, they have a lot of associations. They call themselves either inclusive business, social enterprise, and stuff like that. But it's towards the same agenda. And yeah, I think the more collaboration across is better, lah. But I can pinpoint you to CSAT if you want.
Actually, that's right. And Brian, probably both of you may not know the landscape of Sabah. You know, we actually has a lot of challenges, right? Especially in the rural community, because I have done a lot of community programs and projects for more than 10 years in Sabah. So I basically really understand the need of the people in the rural community. I mean, they really need a lot of help, you know. So why I started up this STEEP was basically is to find some collaborative partners, right? I mean, especially in KL side and all that, because you guys are more advanced than us, definitely, you know, and you all have more experience and more knowledgeable how to help, you know, whether it's rural community or SE and all that. So basically, we really want to find good collaborative partners who believe in our passion, who believe in our commitment to help the rural communities, to find solution or to build solution in our toughest challenges, like what I posted there, for our local community in Sabah. So our aim is actually, because there's a lot of youth in Sabah who really doesn't know the direction of what they need to do. So we have been doing a lot of training programs with them about entrepreneurship and all that. But after that, they don't know what direction, to be honest with you. So we are here to help them. Okay, we are hoping that we can help them to become SE, you know, basically SE, so that they can help back their own villages, their own community, their own youth in their own village. So this is our main objective in SEED, so that we can provide a better solution for the future generation, basically. So that's why we need to do something together, okay?
There you go, guys. Our charter
Yeah.
president have spoken, and again, our intention is not to work in silo, but really to collaborate. And and also if you have not joined SEED and you feel that you like the feel, right, of what's going on right now, do join us. You are able to do so by clicking the link on any of our social media platform, that is seed.borneo on across all social media platforms. Okay, so there you go. So guys, you've heard the who from Dazriq, and then now I would really love to hear the who from Mary. Mary, the who. Who are your beneficiaries, the people that you are working with? Who are the people that you are working together to contribute to the beneficiaries? And who are the people that have been supporting you, Mary?
The rural community, where they are lacking of information, a lot of things that they are behind from people who are live in the urban area. I do really agree what was that Janet was saying just now, that in Sabah, especially our infrastructure, you don't have name a few. So this is the main thing, is that actually a small builder like me, our challenges is to reach them out. We do can reach them out, but it's not really that we can bring all of them together at a time, because due to lacking of funding, and then what we do here, we do our pool funding, our own pool funding from our own small company, and of course a small agency who are really believe on what social impact are all about. But not many in Sabah, not many, but they are starting now. They are starting, in Sabah, this is a way forward, because I believe that if everybody believe in empowering people and bringing the social issue as a main thing, that we have to give a solution to it, and I believe that it is more than wonders, people in Sabah. But that's why the main person or individual or what we call that network that I would really would like to looking forward to, like Brian and Dazriq, of course. It is because, and of course the industries as well, so that they know and how they need to support all this SE, so that from there we can move on time to time, bit by bit. We better support this small initiative now, which is we supposedly started a long way before, so that we can see some of the impact. But so this is the things that we really looking for investors, because we are really lacking of funding here, because the business landscape in Sabah way different, because they're still not aware about social enterprise yet. But then, some, not they're really not aware, but not that how to say, in only in a small numbers. They are like still confused. They still do trading. They still do how to identify their social enterprise and in which way they can help. So of course, agency also is one thing that we are looking forward to, lah. And here in Sabah also, if we really work it out, we have a lot of opportunity that we can bring forward. And I really looking forward to network with Brian because of the platform, so that we can push all these local product into a big things, and the more people could see it, and the more people can get help from from the network that we gonna build later. And Dazriq, also a lot of things that I need to learn from you on how to put a social investment and things like that. A lot of things. So these are the things that I really need to learn and see in the bigger picture, and how to empower more people in the rural community, a better solution for them.
Thank you so much, Mary. And I think, like I say, right, you have been in the forefront of making an impact in the SE ecosystem back in Sabah, right? And I've seen how much impact that you've created in the rural area, right? Promoting, helping them, guiding them, and that is amazing, right? That is amazing. So thank you so much, Mary. Moving on to Brian now. Brian, guys, you really can jump into the conversation. You don't really need to wait for your turn, but do jump in the conversation anytime, right? So like I mentioned in the beginning just now, let us have the conversation just flow, right? So Brian, who is your who? Who are you making impact to? Who are the people making impact together with you? Who are your support system? Being here, right? Being in this ecosystem.
I think our number one, who sound like an owl. The who for us is, I guess, our brands, the brands on Poptron. We are constantly inspired and energized by their stories. We're fortunate enough to have a platform where whenever we talk to the brands one-on-one and they tell us the story, their narrative about why they started their brand, what they're trying to do, their aspirations, we always get very excited hearing these stories. And then when we start working together, we get into sort of like a mode where we sort of like inspire each other. Then when we have our investors who come and talk to us and they say, can you recommend, or shall we say, put a panel of referees of some of the brands that you work with so that we can have a chat with them and see what they say about your platform, they become overly passionate about that Poptron to the point that our investors think that we have prepped them, but we have not. But it's just that because they've worked so personally with us, they know how much we basically feed off from each other. I guess I'm also fortunate that we have two mentors that are passionate about what we do, but at the same time also very aware that we are anchored on our community and also our impact. I think I cannot stress enough that when you get into a situation where you are about to accept investment, if your investor is social enterprise aware, that's okay. That they understand that they probably may need a longer gestation period or something like that. But because we don't put it up front, the expectations are exorbitantly high sometimes. So we always have to set the bar from the start to say that we are not a hyper-growth, hyper-scale company. We are, number one on our ethos is scaling with integrity, which means that we work with our community and we scale together. That takes time. So if you're not on board with that, we're not the right portfolio company for you. So of course that's detrimental to us because that means our pool of investors have just shrunk by 3/4. But the ones that are leftovers and want to talk to us about it, they understand what we're trying to do, and we get very quality discussions around that. So I think for us, it's definitely the brands first. They are the ones that continue to push us forward. And then followed by our mentors and our investors. Our customer segment, I think I know this sounds a bit funny. Our customers are not as forefront in the appreciation side of things. They don't really come to us and say, we love your product or we love the product that we bought. They're more in tune with the brands that they buy from Poptron. So they're more direct towards the appreciation with the products that they buy from Poptron and direct towards the brands in terms of appreciation. So we don't really hear as much about that, but we get first person feedback mostly from the brands. So that's really our who, I would say.
All right. Thank you there. What I really like about what you've just shared is scaling with integrity, because I think for people who are in the conventional business, this is very hard to comprehend, right? So there is no such thing as the first 2 years you go through an exponential growth, right? Like how people are always preaching about in the business world, exponential
Yeah.
growth. There would be some lucky ones, but not lucky lah, kan? The ones with break and the one with deep pocket maybe kan has the upper hand maybe. But yeah, I like that. I like that, Brian. Scaling with integrity, because being in the social business or impact business or being a social entrepreneur, that is the toughest thing, right? Because we are working with human, we are contributing first, right? So nice one. Okay, so we've listened to their why, we've listened to their who. Let's get to reality here, right? The next one is the what. So when I say the what, I want to hear from you guys. Maybe to you first, Dazriq, I want to ask you this question. Working with, right? Because what you are doing, like you say, you are not an SESE per se, but really you are working in the ecosystem. You are contributing to the ecosystem, kan? So as you are working with the ecosystem or the industry here in Malaysia, and you did say that you downscale your market from Philippines, and there was another country just now. And what are the kind of challenges that you are facing as you are working with these entrepreneurs, or what kind of challenges that you would normally see this SE would be experiencing? And, just to add on to that, what kind of solutions do you think that, should take place in Malaysia? Because, the new PM just came in, right? Being in the NGO, this kind of information, knowing what are the challenges and what could possibly the solution, it is something that we can put together into a resolution as we get more detail into it and propose to the policy maker, right? So yeah, Dazriq, what are the challenges of yourself as a venture builder? And what kind of challenges your community have been facing, the common challenges?
I think for purpose and for the last 2 years, I think the challenge was quite unprecedented to us, not just for purpose, but also a lot of social entrepreneurs to some extent. And coming back to what Brian mentioned, I think scaling is one, but sometimes you realize, especially if you're a social entrepreneur, so it's not just about scaling, but also to build that deep impact. And then if you see like some social entrepreneurs, so they don't necessarily want to scale into different markets. They would rather serve the community they serve, but also build very deep foundations around that impact, which is fine also, right? And I guess to purpose on that note also, we took the same ethos. We had so our ethos was to help scalable or high potential social enterprises, right? But we didn't realize in Malaysia in 2018 when we started is that a lot of social enterprises here, they are probably right but not ready to scale in that sense. So then we realized, okay, let's explore into our neighboring countries or in Southeast Asia, and that's how we landed one in Philippines and one in Singapore. But unfortunately, event to that is actually 1 year down the line, COVID happens, and them themselves have to sort of pivot, to hibernate and things like that. So that's also from a commercial standpoint, it makes more sense for us to double down efforts in the community ataupun in Malaysia itself because of COVID. Because I think then it was lockdown and accessibility, uncertainties and stuff like that. So coming back to the point of building deep impact, we realized that, okay, look, maybe we should pivot also. During COVID times, what we did was we didn't invest directly in social enterprises like how we did in 2018, but rather we actually, I guess, semi-acquired a partner that just focus on social entrepreneurship, learning and development. Because the intent that we know for sure that, hey, look, probably it's easier to make money in tech startup or whatever it is, but because of that deep impact you want to build in Malaysia, we say, okay, let's focus on L&D. And that's how we sort of created New Uprise, who also own the license for Social Enterprise Academy Malaysia. And the intent behind that, probably over the next 3 to 5 years, we're able to build to our ethos study lah, highly scalable, highly potential social entrepreneurs that hopefully then can go to market or as comparable to our portfolios in Indonesia, sorry, in Philippines and Singapore. So that was purpose punya challenge then. But for all of you here, this is slightly uncommon, but maybe some of you also have heard this term about unicorns, right? So Malaysia want to create 5 unicorns, 5,000 startups or whatever it is, right? And that unicorns typically like, okay, high returns, focus on scale, growth, and valuation, right? For social entrepreneurs, and I guess you guys can also research this, there's another type, that what we call the zebra. So you could also find unicorn versus zebra, and you can see the two distinct, differentiated characteristics. And this is something also I think what Brian was alluding to. Zebra not necessarily wanting to scale and grow, but also scale with, I guess, responsibility lah. And what that responsibility means is that you still want to create the not the impression, but the value proposition of community first. Because sometimes unicorn, they build and they acquire customers and then they don't really care about customers, but as long as they grow and make profit, right? But zebra, on the other hand, it's community first, right? They might not grow as fast, but they build that deep impact over time, right? And I feel that's a more stable, more conservative way of running impact business or social enterprises lah. So I don't necessarily agree or prescribe for, oh yeah, social enterprise need to make X number, whatever valuation, millions, billions, so to speak. But if you are an impactful business, ethical business, will say, look, I'm okay where I am. I'm not making much money, but I know that for a fact I'm creating deep impact. That's probably another measurement of success that potentially that we should mainstream. And this is not very different from, you know, what's the conversation happening around the world, and although people use different terms, right? The ESG, SDGs and stuff like that, right? But fundamentally, it's about that. It's no longer just about money, right? It's about community, it's about society, it's about governance when you speak about ESG and things like that lah. So I feel for me, the challenge is again, this is the capitalistic mindset. People still want to make money, and at the cost of all of the other importance of stakeholder. But I feel that the needle needs to move lah. And coming to your point, right? So I hope with this new government or whatever it is, right? There's a bit of emphasis on not just ESG, SDGs or social enterprise, but things around equality, for example. You know, and then this thing around sustainability that will in return would actually help the amplify the causes of the business of social enterprises or impact businesses. So that's the challenge that I hope to make it an opportunity for us lah.
Nice one. And I guess what I'm hearing from you, one of the biggest solution is to create awareness and also educate people out there, right? Because I do experience this myself, Dazriq. It's that, where's the money already, right? Where's the money already? There's so much impact that has been created, but what people are asking is, where's the money already, right? And what that impact is pushed aside. So yeah, totally agree with you. And I think education needs to be done lah here, kan? Yeah, thank you. And I learned something new. I learned about the zebra term. Thank you for that. So now we've heard from Dazriq, right? The what, and okay. Before that, Adelina have said to me that we are 1 minute over time, so we started a little late just now. And I would just like to ask for your permission to overrun time by 10 to 15 minutes because we did start late just now. So 10 to 15 minutes. This will be my second last question. And I promise you, because we promise, okay, the last question we just answer pendek so that they can contact you after this if they want to ask for more information. Okay. So what kind of challenges, what kind of solution, Brian or Mary? Go ahead.
I think also one of the, I do agree with Dazriq what he has said. The same things happening here is actually also in Sabah, especially that we are covering all the rural communities, things like that, even in the urban communities as well. And what is actually from that perspective, I see most of them is what they need is to uplift their motivation. Because motivation in terms of they do have the initiative, they do really want to do things, but they don't have a proper a direction to it. And of course, of course, another way again, they don't have what we call that more into access to the financial capabilities. I mean, here in Sabah, talking about SE, people are not really aware about it, and then they say, "Oh, you have to do this and that, documentation, tons, things like that." So this is a one point also met them, you know, like I'm be comfortable with what I'm doing, so it is okay. I don't have to scale up my business. I don't have to, you know, I'm just be comfortable as long as I can bring food to the table. So that's it. So this is from the point that I'll see they need also in terms of motivation on why they need to scale up, you know, and how do they have to scale up. Then balik kepada of course the financial side, the funding side, you know, to be cover the segmentation lah. I mean the social enterprises atau social more opportunity on funding side on the social entrepreneurs. Yeah. So I think that's from that's the only from me. Maybe can be added by Brian.
Sorry, Nini, the question was about around challenges, was it?
Yes, challenges. What kind of challenges and what kind of solution?
For us or the people that we work with?
For you or the people you work with?
Well, I think for us, we are kind of compressed in the middle because we have a community of brands. We have also then a community of users / buyers, consumers. We are then required to build a product in the middle, which for us is both an online and now an offline product, which involves tech and processes. So I think for us, the challenges are a myriad of them. It's incredibly complex, I would say. I'll be very transparent to say that when I started Poptron with this very simple idea, I did not expect the challenge to be so monumental, to be very honest. Starting the marketplace was not an easy feat. And even though we launched it 30 days after we received our investment, because I was following the playbook, right? MVP. I'll give you a very quick story. And we launched it somewhere with CIMB Bank at Publica, with a bit of a hoo-ha. And it crashed immediately. All right. So I think moving on from that experience, we've gone from one fumble to the next, and then just building capacity in understanding as a team. You know, you have 3 million things to solve, picking the most important 10 for this quarter, and then being okay with everything else falling apart, which is very difficult to accept sometimes. Is not too far off from a challenge of what our partners face. I think our partners also face, and when partners, I mean the brands that we serve. I think the fundamental issues are all around demand and supply. Supply being, you know, if you're on the social enterprise side, the product that you make, or the community that you serve, or the service that you're trying to render. And then on the other flip side of that, going and addressing the demand of it. So selling your social enterprise, positioning yourself, doing social media, Canva. So you have to juggle 24 different functions, just trying to keep this boat afloat. So I understand these challenges because we hear them every day from the brands that we interact with. These are people who run a brand with like 2 people, 1 person, sometimes 3, with a part-timer. So they're not like, you know, an established small, medium enterprise. They're just micro. So the challenges are astounding. So when you bring these 2 challenges together, it gets even more interesting because there are many requests on both sides, and it's hard to find a middle ground. But I think that's where we bond the most, because they understand that we are trying to fight this, trying to fight for a way to be able to help them gain more on the demand side of things, and also help them with the supply. So it's not about the challenges around demand and supply. It's about that relationship of trying to address this mission together. So in a community aspect, our problem statements are very similar, and we use that as the glue that we form, and we try and help each other, as opposed to we position ourselves as a solution to all your difficulties. When you join Poptron, miraculously everything will be solved. No, I never say it, and I know my team does not. We work closely, and we know what we can and we cannot do. So I think the challenges on both sides for me and the brands, I'm very clear about them. But it gets extra complicated, I feel, that when I work with SE companies, because SE companies, and we have a few that we are very close to, they're so ingrained into their purpose and mission, and that takes up 95% of their time, which it should, I feel. That they forget about the demand side of things because it's either takes up too much time or it's just too complicated. Who has time to take a course on Google AdWords and then 3 weeks later they change the algorithm, So they get very deer-eyed, like, oh my God, Brian, I don't know what to do. How do I gain more exposure, or how do I get more customers? Because I'm trying to help this group of autistic children. So we come across brands like this. That's why on our website, we especially support brands like this. When it comes to brands like this, we reduce prices of our services. We spend more time with them because we know that 5% of time that they spend with us is going to lead to that 95% of time that will have a lot of impact. So yeah, we have a lot of challenges, but it's all good. It's all part of it.
I hear you, Brian, and I understand you as well. And I can only imagine that you are in the middle right there. So really, Brian, when I ask you the question, what kind of solution? So I would rephrase my question. If you have a magic wand, right, Brian, then what could be a solution? Right now, one solution from the top of your head, if you have a magic wand.
You mean Poptron?
Yeah. If you have a solution to these challenges.
Our solutions have always been catered towards the demands of our community. We started off online, but we knew we were going to be offline because the hybrid economy is here to stay. McKinsey did a survey, and it's like 60% hybrid, right? So recently, and that's where I met Adelina, our pop shop at KLCC is meant to then help brands be able to sell online and offline. But the real services required to make this work is actually the demand services and the supply services. So on the demand side, we help brands do creatives, digital marketing, and all that, so that we can funnel customers to the marketplace and also to Pop Shop, which is the offline presence, through us. So theoretically, all they need to do is hand us their product, and we help them to do the marketing for it, to channel customers through the online offline. The last piece of the puzzle, which is the biggest headache, is actually ProShip, which is the fulfillment side. my pet peeve has always been, how do I sell Malaysian brands into Brunei? Because it's an extremely difficult market to go. There's nothing coming out of Brunei, only things going in. Therefore, shipping cost is extremely costly. One hijab is 25 ringgit to purchase, but it costs 180 ringgit to ship to Brunei. You know, so it's all these problems. So I imagine Sabah has issues, Sarawak has issues, but with ProShip, we have the full suite, I would say, marketplace, offline, online, demand services, and supply. The supply side will happen in 2023. And once this happens, then, you know, we can say, okay, we've got a foundationally sound basis for brands to come on board. Even if you're micro, you can work with us and we can help you to start scaling. Instead of you trying to figure out all of these things on your own. Don't worry, there's still about 15 things you still need to do on your own that we can't help you with. But there's some things you don't have to worry about. Yeah.
Nice one. A bilateral trade relationship that needs to happen.
Yeah.
And that's Bimiaga, right? Bimiaga and Sabah and Sarawak could be the hub of that. And then when this bilateral trade relationship happen, then maybe the logistics will be cheaper lah, kan? Kita bisik-bisik lah sana, kan? Bisik-bisik.
We're so serious.
You ada kaki nak bisik ke? Bisik-bisik dengan situ.
I was about to say, we're so serious about our East venture now that our merchant acquisition person is based out of Miri.
Nice one. So thank you so much there, Brian. Like I say again, I do understand you, but I can only imagine you being stuck in the middle there, right? Lagi banyak kaplap ni. So, guys, you've heard their why, you've heard their who, you've heard their what, right? So now, you know, coming to my last question. My last question will be how, right? How do you see the SE industry moving forward in the future? Not too far in the future, but really, you know, because economy is quite challenging right now, or starting to be challenging right now, like really challenging. How do you see us? Because you've heard the challenges already, kan? So I think people want to know, how do you see it moving forward? And how can other people play a role and contribute to the SE ecosystem as well? Mary, what do you think?
I think one thing, of course, to put all this as SE initiative as a priority, you know, to be, you know, and it's not only awareness, but it's priority to promote, especially their local products, so that, you know, more supports for these local products, and then they have the motivation to, how to say, to increase the numbers, and they can scale up their business, things like that. And of course, it could be like, you know, more promotion to have a sort of like a promotion subsidy and things like that, you know, so that they feel like a bit lighter on, you know, to cater the segmentation. It is because here in Sabah, if they would like to, how to say, to put their how to say, initiative forward, they always think like, oh my God, I have to contribute in the bigger number. So I don't know how to go about it, and because of back to the financial capabilities, and then they don't have enough network, and then they don't have a direction. So I think the how it's I'm referring to Sabah, yeah, that the government agencies, the corporate sectors, and also the industry have to acknowledge and prioritize to promote these local products to the state, so that everybody aware. And then I believe if everybody aware about that, and then, you know, with the logistic issue, things like that, I think we can improve in terms of the capacity of the supply chain. I mean the productivity and also the pricing, because this is the main challenges here in Sabah. Also, one thing is the pricing and also the supply chain. Yeah. So I think that is from me, from the entrepreneur inclusive business perspective, and as well as a community builder here in Sabah, because I'm seeing a lot of local products who are, I'm not saying that it's not moving, but a very small number. So when they don't have that number because of the comparison that from the outside products and the what we call that, they can get buy from the market even more cheaper, so they will put this local product as the second priority. But if with the assist and help of the government, so I think it will help, very helpful. And I believe that it can be the sustainability of social enterprise here in Sabah will be better. Yeah.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you. Want to go back to Dazriq now. Dazriq, how do you see the SE ecosystem, moving forward, not to, in 2 years' time, maybe, and how can others play a role in the SE ecosystem as well?
I think so I'd say it very shortly. I agree with what Mary mentioned. So what that means is actually it has to be bottom up. What that means, there need to be more players, business owners, even youth who want to venture into impactful businesses, inclusive businesses and stuff like that, needs to come to the forefront. Only then, when there's mass, I think Mary mentioned about mass study, only then I think there will be certain not to say initiative, but incentives or policies that could come to play from public sector or government, right? And then I guess it's more opportune time now than where I was in CSAT or Magic in 2018, because the challenges is very different now, and the anticipation is that economically we might go into what we call a deep recession. And then we already see signals of it in the West countries, in Europe, in America and stuff like that. And I guess it's just a matter of time when it hit Asia, right? And I guess in Sabah specifically, in this case, it's actually because it's very community-driven, community-centric, right? Which means that there's an opportunity for this community to be a bit more self-resilient, self-reliant, whatever that may look like, right? So I think fundamentally, I feel that within the next 2 years of time, it's no longer a bit of top-down approach. I think it will come more from a bottom-up. And when that happens, right, then you can see the connectedness when people talk about unemployability, when we talk about basic income and stuff like that, right? People usually, or rather the conversations that I have usually top down. It's need to be digitalization, the basic income, but often we need to change the framing a bit, and I think that's where Sabah's potential is, and also community based lah. So my thinking here is actually, push come to shove, I think there'll be more community empowerment by doing business. Social enterprise, impact business, inclusive business, whatever the label is, I think that's secondary, but I think there'll be more community-ish type of business that also try to empower the community around. So then when that happens, only then I think there's more policies, initiatives, incentives that will also support that. So that's my anticipation for the next 24 months or so.
Thank you so much, Dazriq. And moving on to Brian. Brian, how do you see the SE ecosystem in like 2 years' time? And how can the community or the rakyat Malaysians to play a role in this?
I think I echo what Dazriq said. Stronger than ever, the community element has showed us that during the pandemic, we all know how to take care of ourselves and our communities. And we also started to be super aware and super supportive of local brands, local products, local communities. Just prior to that, nobody cared. To be honest, you had to push so hard just to get any form of appreciation or consumption in that sector. But post-pandemic, I think people are starting to fall back into pre-pandemic habits and starting to retract their support local. But however, if the deep recession does come, I feel like this is going to play into the hands of communities again, whereby you will notice that all that investment you have made into communities and also building your demand and supply chain will come back and pay off and see you through that tough times. Because when you have very superficial relationships in other businesses with your customers where it's all very fleeting, let's say price only, right? If you're going to buy a mouse, Logitech, which is like one guy sells it 2 ringgit cheaper, you'll buy from someone else because there is no narrative, there's no loyalty. But when tough times come, people appreciate that narrative more, and people appreciate that loyalty, and they'll be more inclined to support a cause rather than a capitalist sort of like approach. Even if the big marketplaces throw massive discounts on things, if they had that option, they would support you. The challenge, I think, for us is to be visible enough that you are an option to be supported for. That, I think, that challenge, to be visible enough so that the time comes when people say, I would like to support this thing, and then you become top of mind. I think that's the only challenge. If we're able to overcome that barrier, if the recession comes, I have a feeling the consumption behaviors will still go back towards supporting causes, and we are going to be seeing it pay off. I feel, could be wrong, but
yeah. Thank you, Brian. So with that, I guess that was my last question. The how. As a social entrepreneur myself, I am super in alignment with what Dazriq have said, Mary have said, Brian have said, right? I've spoken about this many, many times, why I do what I am doing right now and shift, my businesses into a social-driven business or impact-driven business is really what I could see. My vision is that, so imagine this, right, guys? If more businesses, either your micro, your small, your medium, your MNC, right, play a role in being part of the SE ecosystem, you would immediately impact your customer. You would immediately impact the community. You would immediately impact the country, right, at its economy. How this is done. So think about this. Brian spoke, and Dazriq just now spoke about community. It has to be like more community-ish, right, moving forward. As you are building your community, what's happening is you are creating relationship. As you are creating relationship, you are actually building trust within your community. As you are building trust within your community, what is happening without you seeing is you are developing brand loyalty. So imagine this happening in Malaysia, in the SME world, right? Our livelihood, the quality of our life, in Malaysia will be elevated. So more people creating impact, more businesses creating impact, buying into impact. That is my vision. And like I say, I am super in alignment with what Dazriq, Mary, as well as Brian have said. So thank you so much, guys, for being here today. I appreciate you very much. I'm sure that the audience have learned a lot. So what will happen right now is there are no questions in the chat room right now. But if you do so have question, you are able to connect with Dazriq, Brian, as well as Mary through their email. Dazriq have given your email. Maybe Mary and also Brian, you are able to do so, right? put your email in the chat room if you want, or any contactable channel that you would prefer lah in the chat room. With that, I would like to say thank you again, and would like to pass the stage over back to Adelina. Thank you. My name is Niney, and I'm done for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Niney, for handling the fireside discussion today with our speakers, Dazriq, Brian, as well as Mary Jim. I think everybody is enlightened. We've learned more about social entrepreneurship, the spectrum of social entrepreneurship rather, and see what has been going on in that realm of whether it's from Dazriq, whether it's from Brian's perspective or Mary's perspective, as well as our moderator, Niney, who also shared some of her experiences and her knowledge on the impact-driven or purpose-driven industry. Now, thank you very much for still being here with us. I know we extended time a little bit, but it's okay. We really appreciate you still being here and listening and staying on for today's talk. Now, to close today's event or today's talk, I would like to invite again the president of SEED, Datin Janet, to say a few words.
Okay, thank you, Adelina. Okay, basically, for everybody knowledge, especially to the public here tonight who are listening, SEED objective actually is to promote the development of social enterprise as well, as a mean of course, addressing the entrance social and environmental problem, and also delivering the positive change, right, to the local communities and society, especially here in Sabah. So as you all know, right, 2020 to 2022 currently, right, which was a year when COVID created a reset opportunity where much of the debate shifted what should be done to how and when we do it, right? Especially as climate action has become imperative. So now the big question is, what direction are we looking at, right? I know that Dazriq and Brian and Mary Jim have shared their perspective as well, but I think we also need to look more in depth how we can help our own local community, as what Dazriq have mentioned over and over again. That community-based element is very important now, especially now, after the COVID and all that, where we're going to foresee there's a lot of recession coming up for next year and all that. So I think we may not have the answer to this at this moment, right? But I think we can work towards it to help our local community. Okay, let's collaborate together and see what we can do. I think that's very, very important for us now, right? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Datin. Thank you so much, everyone. And with that, it wraps up tonight's event. And before everybody starts leaving, please don't leave. We would like to take a group photo with everyone. If those who are comfortable, please do switch on your videos for the group photo. Okay, so I'll be taking a photo in 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you so much for that. And thank you for being here and listening to today's talk and today's discussion on understanding the fundamentals and reality of social entrepreneurship. We truly appreciate it. So on behalf of SEED, thank you so much to the speakers, moderator, as well as all the participants. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, and thank you for networking in the Zoom chat. We hope that tonight was beneficial for everyone, and hope to see you in the next SEED event or outside of SEED events. So do follow us also on all our socials. It's seed.borneo. We kept it very simple across the board. It's seed.borneo. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a very pleasant evening.